What are the current challenges and opportunities that FDI is facing in Turkey by the made governmental policies in the area?
Türkiye'de yatırımlar son dönemde iki ana perspektifte yürüyor. Bunlardan bir tanesi Orta Doğu ölçeğindeki mevcut yatırımlar ve bir diğeri de tabii ki Avrupa ülkelerinden gelen yatırımlar. Ama son döneme baktığımız zaman Avrupa'dan gelen yatırımcıların çok fazla azaldığını görüyoruz. Buna mukabil Orta Doğu'dan gelen yatırımcıların da fazlasıyla çoğaldığını görüyoruz. Yabancı yatırım Türkiye için çok önemli bir nokta. Hem Türkiye için çok önemli hem de yatırımcılar için çok önemli bir lokasyon Türkiye. Bu açıdan baktığımız zaman da hem Afrika'ya açılan pazar hem Orta Doğu'nun yanında olması hem Müslüman bir ülke olması ve büyük bir ekonomiye ve daha da büyüyen bir ekonomiye sahip olması yatırımcıların ilgisini çeken bir nokta. Bu açıdan bakıldığı zaman Türkiye'ye yapılan yatırımların Orta Doğu ölçeğinde her geçen gün arttığına şahit oluyoruz. Tabii ki ekonomiyle bu ekonomik yatırımların en önemli noktasını da aslında Türkiye'deki politika oluşturuyor. Türkiye'nin genel dış politikası istikrar üzerine kurulu ve istikrar yabancı yatırımcıya her zaman önemli bir fırsat olarak görülüyor. Bu istikrarı uzun yıllardır Türkiye bu şekilde devam ettiriyor ve devam ettirmeye devam ediyor. Bu istikrar Türkiye'de olmadığı sürece zaten yabancı yatırımcının Türkiye'ye yatırımı söz konusu olmuyor. Ee, Bu açıdan bakılınca Türkiye'nin dış politikasına, içerideki politikaları da istikrar üzerine ve stabil yani sabit bir ekonomik program üzerine devam ediyor. Bu ekonomik programda yatırımcıların aslında iştahını kabartan noktalardan bir tanesi. Yine yatırımcıların en önemli baktıkları konu Türkiye'nin büyüme oranı. Türkiye'nin en son büyüme rakamı %11 büyüdü. Bu normalde beklentilerin çok üzerinde bir rakam. Türkiye'nin beklenen yüzdesi %9,5 ile %10,5 arasında bir banttı. Ama en son rakam %11 gelince Türkiye'nin aslında inanılmaz bir büyüme potansiyeli olduğu bir kez daha açığa çıktı. Ve bu yabancı ekonomik kuruluşlar tarafından da desteklendi ve şu anda Türkiye'nin yatırım yapılabilir ülkeler seviyesinde puanlarında önemli bir artış görüyor.
Most economic experts agree that Turkey has been playing an increasingly prominent role in the world economy, redefining itself as an attractive hub for foreign direct investment. What attracts FDI in Turkey?
I explain it like this. Turkish government makes room for new investors as Turkish economy is open economy, which impact Turkey's growth positively over the last decade, and Turkey has growth potential among developing countries. In particular, Turkish government makes reforms and has an advantage for demographic structure approximately 74.6 million, because this involves in dynamic skilled workforce, a stable political and economic environment. Thanks to emerging markets, Turkey plays a crucial role in the global economy and world trade. Turkey has a profitable geographical location and a large domestic market. In regard to this, these conditions enable them to become global business location, which enhance Turkey to become a center of operation for multinational companies.
There are many factors behind the growth of FDI in Turkey, including the country's geostrategic location, its young and dynamic population. However, these assets are not enough to attract foreign investments, as you counted. You also need liberal legislation. Do you think it is also in Turkey?
The advantages proved by macroeconomic and political stability are buttressed by the Turkish legal framework, which is designed augment FDI. The FDI code provides several advantages to encourage foreign investors who are treated equally with domestic investors. Foreign investors are free to invest in any field of business without any restrictions. It has been increasing demand for foreign direct investors in the fields of energy, financial services, chemicals, environmental technologies, infrastructure, machinery, and tourism. But now, in 2017, Turkey's economy is not going too well because of the AKP's means is it in Turkey's governor AKP's political projects, which are the second plan of the economy. The economy is slowing down. That unsuccessful military coup attempt is followed by the government's silencing of the opposition by means of the confiscations, the decline of confidence in adherence, and the appearance of the dictator in foreign policy are some of the reasons for the worsening economy. Undoubtedly, we need liberal legislation in this case. I hope Turkey will be the first agenda of the government's declaration and economy will start issuing love relation to FDI.
Government policies are integral to the internationalization theory of foreign direct investment. Some government policies reduce market imperfections while others create them. Some of these policies and their effects on market imperfections, furthermore, FDI makes it less attractive as a strategic alternative, while others try to make it more attractive. What is Turkey's regional role in it? What type of policies have been undertaken in terms of FDI support?
Turkey is recommended in order to benefit from the highest levels of FDI. There are 5 basic elements of the strategy. The type of the FDI to be drawn for the short-term macroeconomic priorities is very important. It is not but the medium and long-term target of FDI strategy is technology intensive new investments should abstract. Short-term mergers and acquisitions weigh heavily FDI, which plays an important role is financing the current account. Is medium and long FDI, which is made of technology intensive new investment in the which it will contribute to rapid increase and close the current deficits on the other hand.
What countries are taking a leading role in Turkey as FDI, and what sectors are most attracting for them here in the region?
I count the countries. One of them is Holland, USA, Austria, England, Luxembourg. Is it interesting? Luxembourg, I think it is interesting. And Germany. According to data of the Central Bank of Turkey, 2017, the second half of agriculture and total of the 3 main sectors, namely industry and services, has made 4 billion 357 million of foreign investments. Investment in the production and distribution of electricity, gas, steam, and air conditioning from the sub-items of the industrial sectors was $1,275 million, while mining and quarrying was $185 million foreign investment. Capital inflow of $735 million from Russia for the Akkuyu nuclear power plant was the largest investment in a single country in the period.
So Turkey is no longer the safe destination that made it one of the world's biggest tourist draws. The COP is over since July 2016 and the country has been under a state of emergency. According to the publications of BBC News, Turkey suffered 269 attacks in 2016. And also Turkey's biggest cities, just like Istanbul, Ankara, have witnessed a spate of deadly bombings and bloody attempted coup. In addition, when investing, investors must contend with political backslash and in an increasingly uncertain world. The most interesting question could be for me is, the firm started its business in the same year. What was the impression of the firm and how dangerous is Turkey's instability?
Well, for establishing our Turkey office in the same year of these happenings is actually an unfortunate timing. It wasn't planned or it wasn't a reaction to it, but it didn't scare us, I can say, because as a global investment company, we always say we see opportunity where the others see the risks. So there are some like terrorist effects and happenings happened in Turkey. It affected the tourism, it affects some of the European investors. But as a company with most of our investors and the fund supporters are from GCC countries, it didn't scare them. They are still in the back of Turkey's political developments. They support the country, and we see the economic improvement numbers last month. It's more than 10%, and it's number one ranked in the world. So looking at those numbers, we know that we made a correct decision, and we believe that Turkish people they know how to manage and deal with chaos. Sure, there was the COP attempt, but on Monday the work life was going just same as nothing happened. So people know how to survive, deal with all these things.
Yeah, definitely. Also, when investing in some of the emerging markets, foreign direct investments in the most industrialized countries face serious risk because of their cultural and institutional differences, such as differences in allowable ownership structure, differences in human resource norms, differences in religious heritage, and corruption in the host country. So, considering those factors, how would you assess the current business climate in Turkey to attract the foreign investors, and what are the impacts for us?
Well, that's a good point, but it's not actually just for the investment firms. In the global economy environment, each firm have this trouble when they are being in a place that they don't know well. Because Asia, Turkey, Europe, Middle East, Africa, they all have their own culture and their structure, their business life, their legal regulations. But adaptability is still the key here.
Exactly.
And as tangible, the foundation of the company is actually merge of East and West. We have board members from Europe, as well as board members and founders, investors from GCC. Even that I can say for Turkey, we have been in Turkey more than 2 years, but we give 1 year just to understand the markets, just to have the network in the country. So you can't get into a country and expect to do the investment next week and have the return in 2 months. It's not like this. You have to go to area, you have to know the people, you have to have your network, you have to do your business development in the area, and you need to give a good timeline and planning for it. And if you have the strong team supporting you, it is not hard work.
And also, how to decide where to invest. One of the most popular behavioral theories in FTI is international network theory, to FTI. So mostly observation, the firms tend to invest first in countries where not too far from their country in physical terms. This includes cultural, legal, and institutional environments similar to their own. How do you observe where and how to invest? More specifically, what's the behavior of tangible?
Well, I can say, this is actually somehow connected to the previous question because people tend to invest in the areas that they are closer to, they know better, because otherwise it's hard to deal. As tangible, I can say we have a big team, we have a strong team, and we have expertise in each area. So our investments actually start from Canada, Europe, up to Asia.
Yeah.
But I can still say that out of 100 deals, 85 is from Middle East and GCC. So we also, even though we say that we are strong, we have connections we have expertise in all over the world, and we have strong teams in each country, each local office, which supports our business. But we also have this, behavior of investing more in GCC because we are coming from GCC, we know it way better, or we invest more in Middle East and a bit more in Europe. We are still having hard decision process when we go to Asia. Like I'm receiving really perfect deals from Europe, from Hong Kong and Singapore, because they are also really important points for finance. Even though as holding we are interested and we have the capability to manage those deals, it is hard for us to make our fund supporters, our investors, to be happy with it. So they want to know the area better, they want to have more background information.
Right. So would you also share with us if there is a successful accomplished project that is invested by Tangible in Turkey? Also, what sectors mainly has your firm targeted to fund in Turkey?
In Turkey, because we have been in Turkey for 2 years, but first 1.5 years were only the planning and the understanding the country, and we had the decision of making investments in Turkey officially, not to use it as just an operational center, but having investment was 2017 September.
Yeah.
So in September we had the decisions. Now I have 12 projects, they are under Gate 2, and I can say Gate 2 is a part of our methodology, which is we already have a MOU with the project owner, we decided on the project, but we didn't sign the contract yet, which will be signed in the January and February, most of them. So we already agreed on the project terms, and in the name of industries, we don't have limits as tangible. We check the project profitability, it is our focus. But if we make a comparison, as Turkey is still famous of the real estate, they are still saying, it's not good as before and it is more dangerous state. But for our investors, and because the sector in Turkey needs the investment now, we started to support the real estate projects. But we are also interested in the education and hospitality and healthcare system. But education and healthcare have the strict regulations and limitations in the name of the country now. So we can't put so much foreign investment in those, but we are looking for partners and we are willing to co-invest in those. And number one industry is still the real estate. We are supporting some of the trade operations in different sectors.
What are the most important and exciting markets today for Tangible as global investors?
Well, we always say Middle East because as Tangible Middle East Investments, we are the Turkey subsidiary of the Tangible Holding, and we focus more on the Middle East investments. But if I look at the all holding investments, I can say Tangible Holding is still doing so much projects in GCC itself as well. So in these years, in the global world, we don't have so much region limitations, especially as a holding as Tangible. We really have the global network and it is our strength. So if we only make the investment in one country, in one region, it is against our company policy, it is against that we say who we are. Because when we say who we are is we are global collaborators, we have global network and we do investments globally. So we don't have limitations, but to answer your question, I can still say the Middle East and the GCC market is the hot markets for us which takes most of our investments.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the interview. It was so nice talking to you.